Hello, my fantastic friends. We've got the True Crime Oracle on the table today, and we are asking about Lily and Jack Sullivan. Lily and Jack Sullivan. Egotism is the first card that jumps out. These are two children from Nova Scotia who have disappeared, and 4-year-old and 6 years old. Jack is 4, Lily is 6, and they disappeared from their parents' house. And although this card says egotism, I'm getting more that the cars here are the important thing. That maybe they've been driven away from their house. So they disappeared in the woods of, well, in their house is in the middle of the woods in Nova Scotia, in Canada. The parents have a rather strange tale to tell. Mother woke up at 6:15 and told the school the kids weren't coming to school. Lily had been sick. She'd had a bit of a cough. And I know I've done that before, where the one kid is a little sick and I just can't be bothered to take the other one to school. That can happen. And then after 6:15, the next thing that we hear of her saying, she heard the kids. They were Lily was in and out of the room. Jack was. They didn't see Jack. The mother and the stepfather didn't see Jack. They were in bed with the 18-month-old baby Meadow. And then, strangely, the mother says, they're not the type of kids to, and then she kind of trails off. She doesn't finish the sentence. She says, they won't go outside by themselves. They'll only play outside when we're there with them. And then she says something, they were outside playing, although we didn't know it at the time. So how do you know after the fact that they were outside playing? Because there's no sign of them outside. So anyway, the parents tell the story that the kids left the trailer through a sliding glass door that they didn't hear open. Both of them are very clear to say they did not hear the door open or close. And then they were gone. And then the dad says the mother says that it was very quiet, and so she said to the stepfather, can you hear the kids? And he said no, and then he jumped up and looked outside. They weren't outside, so then he spent 20 minutes driving up and down the roads looking for them. And when they couldn't hear the kids, the mother said, I knew immediately that I needed to call 911. Well, wouldn't you just look in the house first? Wouldn't you look in the garden first? And also there's a grandmother's trailer on the property, and this is the thing that really gets me. Neither of them said they went and knocked on Granny's door and said, hey, are the kids here with you? That to me is very concerning. So today we're going to ask, where are they? Where are they? We might get something about what has happened to them, but I want to know, where are they? There have been extensive searches in the woods around the house, and they have not been found, not a single trace of them. Oh, also, the stepfather was very clear about what they were wearing. These particular boots, well, I can understand that. Those boots might be missing. But then he was at great pains to say that the little girl had a pink and white strawberry backpack. How do you know she took the backpack? It might have just been in another room in the house. I don't know. It's just very weird. Neighborhood. Yeah, well, the police have asked for the cameras from the neighborhood, but in this neighborhood, the houses are actually very far apart. I wonder if it involves a neighbor. The houses are very far apart, but they have asked the neighboring properties for their trail cameras. Cover up. Cover up. Okay, where are Jack and Lily? Okay, either where are Jack and Lily or what happened to them. Cards, you tell me what you want me to know. Now, a lot of people are speculating that there is some kind of cover-up going. So there's, what could have happened to them? Logically, they could have wandered off into the woods, which people don't think likely because the dogs didn't get up a scent of them. Although by the time the dogs came, maybe the scent was dissipated because so many people had been searching. So either they disappeared into the woods, which seems unlikely. Although when my kids were little, we had a sort of forest area behind our house, and they were playing in the backyard, and then they just disappeared, and they actually went into the forest behind our house, and they got lost, but they found a pathway, and then the pathway led them to a park, and that led them to the road, which brought them back to the front of our house, and they rang the doorbell. So it can be, kids can go into the forest and get lost, but from here I'm getting very much a human hand involved. So either that, or somebody, a stranger abduction, or something happened in the home, and then this card, the cover-up. This neighborhood, the two houses close together. I wonder if that's the parent, the mother and the stepfather's house, and the granny's house. It's reminiscent of Summer Wells, where you've got the granny living in a trailer on the property. But in that case, we heard from the grandmother. In this case, I haven't seen anything of the grandmother. Something happened. They're covering for each other. Road. Yeah, these kids were taken away. They were taken away from the scene. So cover up could mean by the people in the house, or it could mean the somebody who abducted them. And look at that, accomplice, partner in crime. I'm getting that they're not there anymore. They're not near the house. And you know, we don't like to think that parents would do something to the children, but if you look at the Leilani Simon case, her child ended up, well, there's people are saying, how can anything happen in the house when nobody else would hear it? Leilani Simon, her boyfriend was in the house. I think her brother was in the house. There were other children in the house. And somehow or other, her son wound up dead, and she took him in her car, and she dumped him in a trash, what do you call them, like dumpster, and then the body was taken and sent to the tip. So in that case, people were right there. Well, it was nighttime, and so supposedly they was probably asleep, and they don't appear to have heard anything. And then I also think of the Casey Anthony case, where her daughter Kaylee just disappeared. And she was found in the woods months later. So it does happen. We don't like to think it happens. Power supply. Okay, tell us more. Okay, let's get the energy back to Lily and Jack Sullivan. That could also be darkness. Missing. Yep, well, the kids are missing, that's for sure. Getting the right energy here. Tunnel. Again, movement by road, travel. These kids were moved by car. Where are they? Where can we find them? Power supply, that might be somewhere near power lines. Oof, yeah, there was a theory that there was a party in the house, the parents' house, the day before the children disappeared. That hasn't been substantiated, and it could just be having too much alcohol or drugs. There's a theory that one of the children got into some illicit substances, and that meant that they passed away, and then the parents needed to get rid of both children. One or both of the parents needed to get rid of both children. Now, there have been cases in the past where one child has passed away and the parents don't do anything to the other children. So it's interesting that, and tragic, that both these children have disappeared, which leads me to think just intuitively either the parents did something to both of them, or if the party theory is right, They both got into substances that that caused their demise. There was that one case where the one child disappeared and the other children were told that she was eaten by wolves. And then there was another case where a child in the family disappeared and the children were told the little girl went to the hospital where bad children go. And she had been murdered by her parents. So it's very unusual that two children disappear at the same time. Okay, cards, we really, really, really want to know, where are these children? Secret. And that's a keyhole. Secret. I wonder if the grandmother knows anything of this. The grandmother on the stepdad's side. Something also very strange happened was after the children disappeared, within a couple of days, the mother left the area, went to go and live with her parents or her mum. She's an Indigenous woman, and she went to live with her mum, I think, on the where the Indigenous people live, wherever that Indigenous community is. Mountains. I mean, there's a very slim possibility that these children might have been taken from the home by this Indigenous community, somebody in the Indigenous community, because they're worried about the children because of the partying going on in the house. But I'm not seeing that. I'm seeing more malice with a partner in crime card. Oh no. Landfill, Leilani Simon. So this might not be actually a landfill, but I'm getting this is the energy is the same. Not accusing anybody, just reading the energy. Something happened because of something that the mother did or didn't do, and these children have been disposed of. And I'm getting very strongly that the mother may have had a hand in this. And you know, when she spoke to the press, she said, "Oh, my children are not afraid of strangers and they'll go with anybody," which is a very strange thing to say. When I was 6 years old, my best friend's brother disappeared, and we looked for him everywhere in the mountains. We looked for him for a couple of years. First, it was every single day, and then when the adults had to go back to work, we would look for him every weekend and every school holiday. We never gave up. But the thing that struck me as a little 6-year-old child, I lay awake at night, absolutely unable to sleep or think. My greatest fear was, is he cold? Is he hungry? Is somebody feeding him? The parents in this case, they've never said, "I'm so worried because it's cold out there at night. I'm so worried that they're out there in the wilderness. I hope that they're warm. I hope they've got something to eat. I hope that they manage to cuddle up together and keep each other warm. I hope they're not scared." I was so worried about my friend being scared. It was a visceral reaction in me. And these parents, they're not showing any of that. I want them back. The house is empty without them. Sounds like Chris Watts. Something was going on behind closed doors, and I think the mum and the stepdad both know something about it. I wonder if the mother might have done something. She might have snapped, because the stepfather also said, "Don't blame Mahalia," that's the mother, because she's fragile, mentally fragile, and he didn't want anything bad to happen to the little baby. Social media, there's another clue, and the social media, this looks like this phone is like old and broken. And interestingly, when the mother left the area, she changed her status on social media to single, and she removed all the images of the children's stepfather, Daniel. So again, that's given us a clue. It's given us a hint. So maybe one is covering for the other. That both might be in trouble. I don't know. Well, so I'm getting very sadly, that these kids are dead. They've been disposed of, most likely by the mother. That's a very big clue, the social media clue. And there's the baby. I was just talking about the baby Meadow. He says he wants the baby Meadow to be safe. You know, why would one parent cover for the other? Well, if the stepfather knows that the mother did something to the kids or was negligent, if either of them knows that the other one did something that was negligent and the two children ended up dead, they may have a pact of silence so that the little baby still grows up with both its parents, although Daniel apparently hasn't been able to see the baby, hasn't been allowed to see the baby since all of this started, which again is just another strange cleanup. Something bad happened in that home. Something bad happened in the home. Oh no. Oh no. Okay. Gods, can you tell us, will these children ever be found? Will these children ever be found? Oh, hang on, sorry, one's jumped out. Wooded area. They may be hidden in the woods. I don't think it's close to the actual house, though. Oh, damn it, another one's jumped out. Debt. Now, I know the family was under financial pressure. He was only working 1 day a week because the sawmill where he worked has been on a slowdown. So things might have come to a head because of debt, or it might be that they might be able to track the movements of somebody who was involved by when they used the bank card. Because in this area, there's no Ring doorbell cameras, although there are trail cams, and there's not many, the cell phone signal's not fantastic, so it's difficult for law enforcement to trace people's movement, but they might be able to trace it from when somebody used the bank card. And the day before the kids disappeared, they were seen at a store with, they're not sure exactly with who, but I think it's with the parents, with some family members anyway. Will they be found? Will they be found? Or anything else you want us to know about the situation? Going to be wrapping it up soon. What do you guys think? What do you think may have happened here? Where do you think they are? Do you think they will be found? Please leave me a comment. It really helps the YouTube algorithm recommend me to other people. And I really want to know what you think in this situation. It just perplexes me. It just perplexes me. When my friend disappeared when I was only 6 years old, we looked and we looked and we looked and we looked, and no force on heaven or earth could have kept us away. Family. This is I'm getting the child, the parents, whatever. If the parents are covering something up, it's to protect the remaining baby. It's to, they don't want the baby taken away. There's a money card. Female. Is it the mother? Is it the mother? And look, on the bottom of the pile we've got regret. I'm not getting that this is something malicious. You know, in the Leilani Simon case, she really mistreated that little boy, Quentin. There's horrific tales from the babysitter, how the mother would feed all the other children first, and Quentin would have to sit and watch. And if there was anything left over, then he would be fed. I'm not getting that kind of situation here. I'm getting more a family that was overwhelmed. They were in debt. They had money problems. I don't know if that led to substance abuse or alcohol abuse. This also might be. That morning, the mother said that she heard the kids playing and she was in and out of sleep, so she pulled the cover over her head. She just wasn't coping with the situation, and she regrets not getting up. But it's weird because I think they said that the kids went missing. There's various times, 8 o'clock, 9:30, 9:45 is when the call was made to 911. But the little boy, he was still in a pull-up, and so they didn't even change his pull-up. That's so weird. One of my kids was in pull-ups until they were, they were in pull-ups for a long time because they had an issue with nighttime bedwetting. But, when they were little, if we were having a little lie-in, we would call them into the bedroom and say, hey, come, let me help you get rid of that pull-up. And then we would have some clothes there and help them get dressed. Run away. This, I think, is not so much the kids. This is more, I think, the parents wanting to run away from the situation. And this reminds me of the story about Daniel, the stepfather. He said after he came back from 20 minutes of driving around trying to find these kids, he ran into the woods and he was running faster than the drones and the helicopters. And he ran through water that was deeper than waist deep, and yet when he came out of the forest, he looked clean and he wasn't sweaty or anything. The energy around this makes no sense. And I'm getting that the little baby was very much favored, and the other two children were not. And the father of these children is not in the picture. I did hear at one time that he was in jail, and that maybe why he didn't come to join the search. I'm not sure, but there's definitely things that the family want to hide. The family want to hide, whether it's accident or. And this one here, caregiver, they just weren't doing a great job. Inside that trailer was not good. It was not good. Apparently, well, even on the yard there was trash everywhere, and I don't think it was a very healthy situation. And the kids might have wanted to run away from that situation. I don't know. It's very sad. Lies. They're trying to deceive, and look at that surveillance. Somebody might have caught something on those trail cameras, but I'm still thinking maybe the surveillance at the store might hold a clue, or maybe the surveillance at a bank, at an ATM. That doll lying in the dirt. It says dismemberment. I hope that's not literally. But that's discarded. Children's bodies being discarded. Oh, cards are not really answering whether we will find it. Maybe I should ask different deck. Home. Something happened in the home. The parents are now feeling trapped because of either what each of them did, or because of what they now know. Grove, this is Grove. Again, that's trees. Somewhere in the wilderness. Will the children ever be found? At the bottom of the deck we've got love. Now, the stepfather has shown in his interviews, he has shown concern for the children, but I'm still circling back to whatever happened, the parents are now in a pact to protect the baby. Invisible, and it's in the upside down. So children are hidden away, but that's hopefully that's hopeful that they will be found. And look here, we've got a card, another card that says trapped, but this is in the upside down. And so, and this other card, trapped. Looks like prison bars. So this could go either way. This could go either way. This might be the stepfather taking the fall, so that the stepmother, so that the mother can remain free. It's a very, or it could be that, yeah, I'm very much, this is to do with jail consequences, somebody escaping consequences, and potentially somebody, and I'm not so much getting this is going to jail for what happened to the kids, more so maybe from hiding something or not cooperating. I'm not sure. It's a very contrary energy there. Honesty in the upside down, and we've got lies before in this reading. Somebody felt trapped in the relationship. This is very, very interesting, this energy. And this one is interesting because it's from the perspective of inside a jail cell, really looking out, and this one's from the outside looking in. Could also be that they now are locked into their stories, and that might be the thing that is their downfall. But I'm really getting from that energy, it could go either way. Where they're held to account. I'm not really seeing the children being found, and it might just be something that we're not permitted to see right now. And this is my crushed card. Somebody being crushed under the pressure. So it could be that somebody comes clean, but it's more so the mother flying away. See the birds flying away? And there's also the raven, and these are ravens as well, in the cage. It could also be mental health struggles. There was too much pressure, and that's why she fled to her family's house. Lioness, protector. There could be the energy of protecting the remaining child, and this could be a strong female in the family, either her mother, the mother's mother, or the father's mother. And that's a card of being hunting. I'm not really getting the children's energy here. Orchestrated. Is that person sleeping, or they passed away? Orchestrated, but in the upside down. The things didn't go according to plan. Okay. Just get the Time Traveler's deck. I'll pull a couple from here, and then we'll end it. I'm not seeing them being found. I'm seeing them disposed of. That landfall card is very disturbing. Breakthrough. There may be a breakthrough in the investigation. What's this? Abundance card. I know they've had a lot of tips. Patience. Police are not going to give up on this, and the family is not going to give up on this. Planning. Once whatever happened to the children happened, there was an orchestrated plan to cover it up. And I'm not really getting that that they found. Boat, water, stormy seas, and the card says trust. They don't really trust each other, this family, but there might be a code of silence to try and ensure their freedom. None of them want to be in trouble for this. So overall, a little distressing. I'm not getting the energy that these children are alive. I'm getting that somebody has deliberately disposed of them, and there's now almost a conspiracy to try and keep them from being found. Because if the bodies are found, then then somebody's freedom could be at stake. Those trapped cards are really they're very disturbing. And when I thought about doing this reading, this card here is the card that actually jumped into my mind. So I'm getting very much that this is the energy of the children, trapped in the circle, trapped in their household circumstances. And there's the forest around them, the magic circle. This reminds me of the mother saying that the kids wouldn't play alone by themselves outside. It's almost as though, she started to say they're not the type of kids who they won't go and play outside without us being there. I'm wondering if there was a lot of control, in a way, exerted over these children. They didn't have a very fun or natural childhood. Push upon a star, and it's in the upside down. These kids did not feel very valued or loved. And look, it's a forest. It's a forest, but it's upside down. They're not in the forest close to home. I don't think they left on their own accord. And that's the family card, but it's in the upside down. Stepfather, mother, Lily, Jack, and the baby, but it's in the upside down. For whatever reason, these kids did not have a fantastic childhood, and those that should have been looking after them just weren't. Yeah, I'll just go back a bit, because the strongest cards that I got were really these. Somebody orchestrated it, something went wrong. And this might actually also be giving them sleeping medication. Just giving me vibes of Maddie McCann when they allegedly gave the children sleeping medication. This could be it, actually. They could have given them sleeping medication to make them sleep longer. Mother was tired. She didn't want to get up. And that might have caused an overdose in the children, and then that might be the thing that did them in. We don't want to think badly of parents, but these cards are really not good. Something happened in the home. There was lies, people feeling trapped. The caregiver, something to do with one of the caregivers. Somebody knows something. There's something on camera somewhere. This is the children just discarded like trash. This is the dad. I get the impression of him going during the searches, and it also gives me the impression of the children might have been talking about running away. They might have been very unhappy in that situation. Somebody wanting to escape. Why would the parents have a code of silence between them? Because they want to keep the remaining child safe or out of foster care. This could be hangover. Yeah, there's a cleanup. The money and the debt, there was definitely pressures. Yeah. Wooded area, that's where everybody thought they were. And they might be in a wooded area, natural area. But I'm getting very much Leilani vibes. One or both of the parents disposed of them. Oh, yeah, definitely a cover-up. And I'm getting definitely both of them know what happened to these children. And they were taken away from home. Wow. It's a very distressing read, and the energy here is very, very dark. I'll just see if the cards want to do 2 more. Oof. Hidden. Their bodies have been hidden. Near water. Near water. And what happened? Abuse or neglect. Abuse or neglect. And they've been hidden. That is the answer, is they've been hidden. And I'm not getting from this whether or not they're going to be found. You know, sometimes they are. Like Quentin Simon and Kaylee Anthony were found. And then sometimes they're not, you know, like Summer Wells and Maddie McCann. So, but they've been hidden. They've been deliberately hidden. And a lot of people have got water. I don't think they're in water, but I think they might be near water. And there's the trees again. All right, my lovelies, we just pray for Lily and Jack. We pray that they are alive and well. We pray that some well-meaning person saw them and took them home and are looking after them and feeding them and giving them all the love and care and nurturing that they need and they deserve. I pray that I'm completely wrong with everything that I've read in this reading. And wherever they are, I pray that they are at peace and that they are filled with love. And I pray that your week is filled with love. And may the angels walk with you now and always.